Werner, this is exactly what I wanted to ask about.
Yeah.
Is understanding the mechanisms
Yes.
of the mind. So, like, for example, investigating the reason why a certain emotion is present.
Yeah.
Like maybe it comes from a certain trauma in childhood,
Right.
something like that.
Mm.
And so, like what you were saying about how you could push it into your subconscious.
Yes.
It reminds me of the story Ramana told of the sadhu who he cries out for water and he goes into samadhi for 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And when he comes out of samadhi again, his first thought is water.
Yeah.
So often I find in my experience, if there's an uncomfortable emotion, like, anger, hate, fear,
Yeah.
I say, oh no, I'm the self. And I go to this presence almost as an escape.
Yeah.
Because it's, it's like I run to God basically because I don't want to confront
the devil.
Yeah, but then as soon as I come out of that effortful meditation,
Yeah.
the same emotion is present, or it was pushed into the subconscious and it'll come out again every time.
Right.
So what you're saying is like it is valuable to look at the emotion, where it's coming from, because you also said a few moments ago not to get caught in the memories of the past.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean to also neglect understanding
Right.
the trauma and where it's coming from in the past, right?
The difference is when the emotion comes and you just try to push it away, then with force of will you may succeed, but it's not resolved. But if you accept that the emotion is there, and if you relax, and if the emotion goes, and you just are at peace and you are with God, fine. Then by all means, you don't have to tell yourself, no, I have to pick up the emotion again and confront it. But as long as you, with force of will, try to push it away, then it's just postponing the thing. But if you are accepting, all right, it's there, and you try to just relax, and if it doesn't go, then you can also accept, all right, then let the rat tail come up that is connected with that emotion. But you need not go and look for memories and stuff. If it comes up, then deal with it. Let it be there, but observe the memories. For moments you may emotionally be sucked into it again, and the anger comes, whatever, the reactions come, but then when you become aware, you just step a step back and let the emotion still be there, the memory still be there. At the same time you are aware what it is doing to you right now, and you relax. You don't fight it, you relax. And if the emotions, if the tensions go by way of relaxing, then they disappear. I mean, it may also happen that you do it with a certain subject, and then after some time that happens and it goes and you feel it's gone, and then you need not go and look whether it's still there. Then be here now at ease, at peace, as good as you can. But if it's strongly charged and a strong habit, the next day the same stuff may still come up again. And if you can just relax it, relax it. But if it's still coming back nagging, don't push it away and fight it, but then accept, all right, let it come again. When I said understanding can be very useful, I don't mean that you have to go and dig in the dirt and analyze and you go on forever and ever. It's a jungle with no end. There are fields that are connected, and sometimes something strong comes up and you learn to deal with it, you confront it, you let it go, and if it's really going, then a whole field may go, and you need not to go into every damn little detail that has happened and is connected to it. But still, it gives an understanding when you let the memories come, when you observe the emotions, then suddenly you start to understand a lot of the stuff in your life, why it has happened like this. Why? Because I always provoked situations again and again with my emotional reactions, indulging into it mindlessly, and then invariably the same reactions would come back. And people who never try to be conscious, they have often set up their patterns already quite early in their life, and the rest of their life is just a repetition of the same stories over and over until they drop dead. But once you start to become more conscious, then you see those patterns, and the understanding, I didn't mean go too much and try to analyze. If somebody wants to do a psychoanalysis, fine, let them do it. But you just see the mechanism. Let the emotions, the memories, the energies that are interlinked come together up, and then automatically you start to understand connections, because when you see those emotions with what has happened, it suddenly becomes obvious the cause and effect, and how we have perpetuating them, and how we have been excusing ourselves. Oh, it's because of childhood trauma. It's because my parents were like this. It's because the society was like this. Of course, they all have contributed. We all have our conditioning from our growing up. Can't escape it, growing up in this world. But then we can keep excusing ourselves our whole life long. It's like this because this happened in my childhood, and we repeat it, and actually it is not more the parents, it's not more the society, it's not more the world, it's not more the universe. I am doing it to myself.
But do you think then that we shouldn't? Is it then not important to go into your traumas? Is it better just to move on? Or do you think it's important to see where it comes
You
from?
don't have to go and look for them. If there are traumatic experiences and you learn to be quiet, you learn to be in the present, and they need to be addressed, they will come. And then don't push them away. Then address them. Confront them. See what happens. Even if they are terrible to look at, have the courage not to push them away. Sometimes it may not be a nice experience to open up to that. Then for sometimes the hell may break loose, and the emotions and energies may be overwhelming. If it's getting too overwhelming, you can tell, okay, enough for today. Let's take a break. But basically, if it's there nagging, we don't get around somehow confronting it. But you don't have to go and look for it. Those that need to be addressed, you can be sure they come. Yes.
So, again, about these techniques, like
Yeah.
we are about to learn these techniques, and who am I?
Yes.
Question. Actually, I had the same experience a lot of times. So I feel there is an emotion I kind of should care about or should feel it, but then I used the technique, who am I, to calm this down, and so this stopped again, and it was like emptying the mind again, and because of thoughts and mind and emotions are very connected.
Right.
Even the emotions went down, and I was calm again. And afterwards, I feel like
Should I have gone? Okay, the same, basically what he said. Because I'm talking like this, don't now sit there and then there is an emotion and you let it go and are at ease, at peace, that after that you start torturing yourself and think, oh, should I not have gone after that emotion and confronted it? If you can just relax and let it go, let it go. If it's a struggle that you try to push it away, then you better surrender to the fact that you have to invest some time into it. But if you can just let it go with the question, but who is experiencing that emotion? And are at ease, at peace, then by all means be there and don't disturb it then with a doubt, was it right to do so?
Can we call it like a self-compassion? Maybe this is a kind of step that joined the two words, because the compassion allowed us to accept and host this kind of these emotion feelings that come.
Yeah.
But so there is something to embrace, but at the same time, like it's a paradox. But I think the two things can fit together. No, in the same time, you can observe and say, okay, in this moment I observe and I leave you. No.
Right. You're perfectly right. They are not two things. They come together. And when memories come up, sometimes memories may be of the kind that you are totally pissed with somebody who did something to you, but sometimes it may also be that you are totally pissed with yourself, how you have been behaving, and then suppress that in your subconscious. And if you call that self-compassion, to accept that it is, yes, by all means. There's no point then after that in beating yourself up and think, oh, what a stupid fool I was, and I done like this. But all right, I did at that time like this because I didn't know better. And then accept that this has happened like this, that this is the past. It's not real, it's just a memory, but I need not repeat it. Because sometimes people misunderstand self-compassion, that they say, look, that's how I am. Can't do anything. That's me. That's how I am. But if there are traits of which I know perfectly well, if I follow down that alley, it always leads to suffering. Invariably. It's destructive. We definitely can do something about that, we can get rid of it. So, if we understand that self-compassion properly, you're perfectly right, they come together. That just being in the present and at the same time seeing what has happened, accepting and learning to relax in it. Not judging. Then you stop also judging the other fellow who did things to you. Letting, maybe for sometimes an anger comes about the situation, then accept, okay, anger comes, watch the anger. But if you keep on in that way, being in the present, watch the emotions that are connected, come up like this, then the charge is going, and then you stop keeping a grudge, also for terrible things that have been done to you. Okay, it has happened. It's the past. It's a memory. I give it a life that it doesn't deserve by being emotionally attached to it. There's only one point. You are touching reality now. Here, now, there's no suffering. Here, now, you're not affected by it. Memories are memories, nothing wrong with them. It's a good storehouse of information that can be very useful, that we pick something out and apply it in the present. But we have the tendency to be emotionally attached to it, positive or negative. Oh, it was so wonderful. Ooh. Why is it not there? Negative, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. But still, we feed our life force in a thought, in a memory that give it a reality that it doesn't deserve, depleting ourselves of our beautiful, creative life force in the now, instead of being aware of that joyousness of existence that is not an emotion, that is simply there. We waste that beautiful consciousness and life force by hanging on to all stuff, and then you can call it compassion. Learning to accept it's there, seeing how it is charged and learning to relax it and be okay with it. Okay, the past is as it is. So what? Past is past and now is now. And now you are touching reality.